Okay, here we are. Hi, everybody. I'm Bill. Nick is right now an icon because his camera's loading up, but we're here. How's it going, everyone? How's it going, Nick?
It's going good.
Cool, cool. Yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit about festival season, right? Hey, there you are.
Yeah, yeah, we're going to be talking. It's tons of festivals are submitting right now and have been submitting. So we thought this would be a good opportunity to talk about what makes a good submission. We get a lot of questions about this all the time, so we're going to probably going over the most common questions we get, and Bill will go into a little bit more detail about the deeper parts of submissions. And we're sponsored by Coca-Cola, as you can see.
By Coca-Cola. I'm sharing today with Carlos.
Carlos, if you're out there. So, Bill, why don't you take us into the submission realm?
Oh, sure. Just a couple tips. I know there's a lot of blogs out there about good submissions, and I'm not going to revisit everything on them. All those blogs are good advice. I think the general advice I would give before we go into a couple side areas is it's really a resume, and treat it as such, because a lot of submissions I'll see, they are bits are one thing, but they're just telling us how funny you are. And, if you turn in a resume to a workplace that says, I am so good at Excel, you'll pee your pants, you're not getting that job. Specifically the pants peeing thing, I think about 1 in 3 submissions tells me that I will pee my pants after watching the show. I've just, any festival reviewers probably watched a lot of them. And
have you ever peed your pants?
Watching a show?
Yes.
Probably. I probably have. But you know what? If I do, I'm going to discover that myself. I'm not going to be based on the description.
Don't tell me.
I get the reason to do that, because that's the kind of marketing you do towards the public or to people coming to the shows, saying how great you are and how funny you are, and that's advertising, and that's great, and you should do that. Maybe not the P part, but when you're submitting to a festival, there are other improvisers looking at this. They know you're funny. They know that's great. They need more of, like I said, a resume, a description of your show, a description of your cast. Answer those questions, and that's going to get a lot more traction than the 15th one in a show that says how hilarious we are. It's not that that's going to count against you negatively, that you say that, but that space could be used to actually put information in there that is going to help you give them a better idea of what you are and how to slot you and whether or not to slot you. So it's not that it's going to hurt against you to have that information, but it's an opportunity to make progress that you have not taken, if that makes sense.
What are you, I mean, some of the common questions we get, I always hear, is how should my video be? Well, first of all, my answer to that is you have to have a video. It's so surprising to me that some people submit without a video. You're guaranteed 99% you will not get into a festival without a video nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, if they know you already, but that's one thing. But
if they know you, yeah.
But even still, include it, because they often have a board. A lot of people have sent submissions to my festival, for example, because they're friends of mine, and I know they're showing that's great. But we have 6 or 7 people on our board who haven't seen them, and I can put in a good word for them. But if they haven't seen something, that doesn't count. And just keep in mind,
how could they might have a good reputation, but if they haven't seen them, how can they go, well, here's these other 50 great submissions I've seen?
And if you know someone in that city, that person's voice may weigh a lot, but it's still not going to weigh as much as the other people seeing it. So again, I hear that a lot, like, well, I know someone there. Yeah, but you don't know everyone there. So
and it's usually an uninterrupted video. You don't want to edit it. It doesn't have to be fancy. But why don't you wrote a great blog about how to make a good video, and I just kind of started getting into watching submission videos. I've been consulting on a couple festivals, and I've seen what you mean now about some of those.
How's the Hollywood Festival? Don't need to talk about individual submissions, but how's the Hollywood Festival coming along overall?
Well, I'm just consulting. I mean, I'm not really in the day-to-day operations, but it's going great, and we're getting submissions. We're obviously using the NIN tool, and that's been fun to actually fully use on my own. I mean, obviously I've been testing and using it, but to actually practically use it is really good. But yeah, it's going fine. They have good submissions.
That's awesome. Yeah, you mentioned the editing thing. Everyone says that, so I'm not adding anything new. But I'm gonna go the next step beyond that a little bit. So like I said, people don't want edited things because a highlight reel is not representative of the show they're going to get. Again, a highlight reel is something you send to the press or to an audience member. They want to know the show that's going to be filling up 20 to 40 minutes in their slot, and they want to know what it looks like top to bottom. So that part, we've said that. I want to talk, though, when you're talking about selecting the show, what makes a good show at your theater, there's a lot of overlap, but it's not exactly the same thing that's going to make a good show at a festival. So one thing to keep in mind is the size of the audience, and try and know that ahead of time, because some shows play really well for 30, but not for 400. Some shows play really well for 400, but not for 30. But also, at your theater, usually, where you normally play or whatever venue you play at, it's usually something along these lines. It's like there's the opening show, there's a sort of middle show, and then there's the headliner, which is, maybe 5 minutes long or something like that. And an audience is going to be there for 60, 75 minutes watching shows, and they're going to have a good time. Festivals, sometimes audience members are going to be there for 4 or 5 hours. They're going to see 8 or 9 shows. Not every audience member, but some. And if you're the 8th show on the slot, that's a different energy than second of 3. You're going to really want, if you're looking at submissions and you go, oh man, this had this really good scene, and that scene is at the end of your show, maybe don't submit that one to a festival. Because people, even if you have a nice slow burn and a good ending, people need to have, in those first 3 minutes of your show, a good idea of where you're going, or they're going to tune out. And the audiences, but also realistically, as much as we try not to do this, reviewers for festival submissions, they've probably seen 15 shows before yours today. So you've got 3 minutes to make a good impression, and that's a good thing. So if you're show that has a great beginning or a great end, opt for the show that's a great beginning.
Something I've learned by watching some of these is, like putting together a submission thing. Yeah, you have the technical things, have a good camera, have great sound. Yes, I want to see and hear you. We're in 2015. That's a no. There's no question that should be the standard. There's good enough camera equipment, easy sound equipment. It's easier than ever to do that stuff. And a lot of theaters like yours are taping every show and doing that now. So, and festivals as well will tape them and tape a bunch of them and take your, don't take your best maybe, but take your, your standard show. But one thing I was going to say, Bill, is I see a lot of teams submitting a montage. Like, it's like, and a herald and and that's interesting, but like, if you get 120, 150 submissions to a festival and there's 60 montages, man, that's a lot of competition.
Yeah.
You better really be good at that montage.
Which sometimes they are. That's not unheard of.
Because they are, and they're a great group, and they gel, and they're really funny, and they're like a herald team, like the same thing. But I kind of like watching, for my personal taste, and this might be different in other festivals, like something interesting, something different, something I haven't seen, something that an audience would be interested in seeing. Because you're also trying to plug in these, like, oh, we got one herald team, so we don't want 4 other ones, and things like that. So what do you say about that kind of?
That I've heard from is, and again, don't be dissuaded, just understand that you have more competition. There's a much higher ratio of 2-person groups than there was 5 or 6 years ago.
Yep.
So now, if you're a 2-person group, you still can get into festivals, you can still have a great time, but there's a lot more competition, and that's something you don't want to put 4 2-person groups in a row. So you will if they're great, but you kind of want to, festivals generally steer away from doing something like that.
And another thing is networking, like going to other festivals and getting to know the festival people. And I've seen that be a huge thing for teams that, they have a great video and they have a great submission tape, but they've had competition they don't know. But then when they get to know them and they start contributing to each of these festivals, that becomes a really good thing as well.
Not only that, but when they go to the festivals, a lot of times people who are submitting to festivals have never been to a festival. So it's not just a chance to network and meet people, but to see the kind of shows that go on at festivals and go, oh, maybe this show is more a festival-friendly show than this other show, or maybe this, thing. And again, when you're talking variety, it doesn't mean it has to be a gimmick. It just means some sort of different energy, some sort of different thing. I've seen some good shows that are montages or heralds, but they're just so different in the way they approach it and in their energy. That weighs more than the technical format,
And you know, I mean, I would think it's common sense, but I see it on some troops on our site, and we definitely help troops that aren't fulfilling all the information. We help them out, and now we're up to a standard I think is really good on our site. But like, you know, just like you were saying, it's great to reiterate, is it's like a job interview. Have your bio filled out. Don't make it just like we're gonna make you pee your pants. Like, describe your show. You're selling yourself. You're selling your team. Imagine that we've never seen you before. This is your one chance to hook us in. Write it and tell us your story. Tell us the story of your troop in your town and why you need to be here and why you want to do it and why you love improv, and like, because it's such a wonderful community. Really tap into that, I think, and that's, I think that's what a lot of these festivals look for.
Yeah, who are you?
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to be super complicated, but just who are you? I don't know you. I would like to know you. Who are you?
Yeah. I want to get a little bit of your voice and your tone, you know, like, and get to know you through that, and then see your video and see that come through, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anything else on that, Bill?
Just a super quick thing. You mentioned the camera thing. I'll mention one, actual hyper specific. Give me just a second.
Sure.
Make adjustments on my computer. Keep in mind, you think low light is what you're, when you go to the store, my camera, like, oh, low light because our theater's low light. But keep in mind that low light means low light consistently. And your theater is a very bright light shown on people in a very dark room. So there's a huge contrast, which means a typical low light camera is going to either have everything visible, including the audience, or it's just going to be a glowing white ball. So what you really want, and it costs a little bit more, is you're going to get a camera that has either a CMOS sensor or a 3CCD sensor or something along those lines that can handle high contrast more than low light. So just make sure, high contrast is really what you're looking for more than low light. Technical note there.
No, that's good to know for sure. I mean, because, we get a lot of questions about that. Is there any other questions maybe we haven't covered, Bill, that we get a lot?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah. So I know this is probably going to be a brief episode, but we really just wanted to talk about submissions. Of course, you can reach Bill and I at Bill at nationalimprovnetwork.com or Nick at nationalimprovnetwork.com. We run the National Improv Network, which is www.nationalimprovnetwork.com. It's free to join. You put your troupe, you submit to festivals. Bill has a great 3-part submission blog that is on the site that really goes into detail about a great submission. And like, really the information there, Bill, is so great that if you follow that and do that, you can have a wonderful submission packet. Like Switch Committee, I know is one of those that we say have great packets, and we've seen some other great troops. That was just one that came off the top of my head. But they're also a great fun team, like Honey and things like that. But anything else you want to add about that, Bill?
No, just a quick minor subject change before we go. Some of you probably saw on Facebook, the traveling teacher tool is in beta right now. Yes. So it's going to be rolling out pretty soon. And that is, there's tools both for traveling teachers and for teachers who teach just at their theater, part of the regular curriculum. So it's in beta right now. I'm getting some feedback, and we're working on a couple bugs. So we'll be seeing that pretty soon. Yeah,
we're really excited about this. I mean, this is the goal is to bring our site resource to the teachers too, and kind of get that community going. And this is going to be a great way for teachers. And it's been great. I love having master teachers, and we have great master teachers. But this is a great opportunity, I think, for the newer teachers and stuff to get their name out there and show what they have to offer. And it just helps our community grow even more.
And I'll speak to that merging subjects a little bit to other festival producers out there. We tried something at our festival this year. Your mileage may vary, but we, for the first time in a long time, didn't have any master instructor, and we will again in the future. But we decided to get just a large number of instructors who haven't had as much experience. They were shorter workshops, they were for a smaller number of students, and they were for less money. But that was I think, a good experience for the instructors, but also for us to get, you know, a variety of things that we don't get, you know, over and over again with some of these master instructors. So yeah, give a shot to some of those instructors that you might not.
I think that's a great thing. You know, I understand the need for having masters and you want those, but like you should always have a slot or two for, you know, to try something and put something in there. I've done that for my camps for sure, and it's been hugely successful. I know you've tried that at Phoenix, and it's been great as well.
Yeah, Fantasy Football, both of them came out. They both did individual workshops. They did really great. Just a shout out to, you know, Holly and Jody, great workshops.
Yeah. So. Well, that's it for NIN's Talking Shop for this month. We're both the co-founders of the National Improv Network. Visit the site at nationalimprovnetwork.com. It's a free resource for you by us, and we'd love to see you on the site. We're about to reach our 2,000th member, probably in the next couple days, probably in the next week or so, I think.
And if it's Carlos,
Carlos, you're going to win $1 million. All right. Thank you very much, everybody. If you have any questions about submissions, we're always here. Please email us.